Hi everyone, Stan here from Wealth Success Reviews, and I have a big surprise for you today. My new best friend, Andy. Good morning, Andy. It's morning
Late,
here in the U.S. I guess it's afternoon there in the U.K.
late, late afternoon here, mate.
Yes. So, how are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on.
All right, thank you for coming on. So, I'm in love with your program, Bug Free Mind. I have the original books, which I bought some years ago. I have, then I graduated to the audios. I did that actually because of my physical problems. I found it hard to concentrate on reading. I previously I was a two book a week reader,
Yeah.
and and
Wow.
now I have the videos, which are absolutely wonderful. And I know that you also have the in-person program, which you did around the world. So tell me, how did you get started in all this, and what made you create the Bug-Free Mind?
Sure. It's a little bit long-winded, but I'll cover it as quick as I can. Um, I started off at the age of 13, and my great uncle, told me that I was different and that I was going to be a millionaire. So, of course, he set me with the right mindset. He told me I was going to have a great life. I was going to be a millionaire. And don't worry, all the people I would need would come to me. So I left his room at the age of 13, expecting to be a millionaire, expecting to have a great life, and expecting everybody I need to come to me. And that's exactly what's happened. But I'd never really, I built this business in my 20s and 30s, and it just wasn't making me rich. And I got to one point with a business mentor over lunch when he said, "Look, Andy, all your ideas are great, but they all lack one thing, money." So I just thought, I'll go make us some money then. And I just went off that night and started researching how to get rich. And I'd never read a book on personal development or anything like that, but I just researched how to get rich. And in a period of, I set myself a ridiculous goal, which was become a millionaire in the next 2 years. Well, I achieved a millionaire in 6 months, multimillionaire 2 weeks later, and it went from there. Everything we touched turned to gold. And I was at a seminar a few years later after I'd learnt about things like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. Never seen them before, and my friend had said, "You've got to read these books; they're great." And of course, I read them and went, "Wow, this is fantastic! Here's the process for success written down. Anybody can follow it. There's going to be lots and lots of rich people, and being created from this. Lots of people have wonderful lives from it." And I just assumed that people could learn from it because I picked it up and it was just the process I'd followed to succeed. And then I went to this seminar and a lady said to me, "Only 1% of people ever succeed." And I was sitting there, and at the time I was probably worth somewhere between 10 and 15 million sterling, which was probably about $30 million at the time. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are you all doing it then? What, I don't understand. Well, I knew I was going to be successful. There was no shadow of a doubt. To me, it was like, well, that's automatic. It's done. So as there's about 100 people in the room, why are you guys doing it? Why aren't you on a beach somewhere? Because if you have an odds of 100 to 1, then you shouldn't do it. So this fascinated me. And then it fascinated me when I gave people the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book and the Think and Grow Rich, and they read it, and they couldn't become successful. And I thought, well, it's written down, guys. Well, I don't understand. I don't understand why you can't do it. And I became fascinated with why I could succeed and why successful people could succeed. And at the time, I was, busy building various businesses and that sort of thing. But this thing kept coming back to me, and it was like, why can I do it? Why can I do this? And why do other people struggle with it? Well, in 2008, when the credit crunch happened, virtually everything I built went from gold to the other sort of stuff, which isn't very nice, which isn't gold. It all went wrong. And over a period of 6 months, my mindset went from ultra successful to a loser's failure mindset, where it's like everything I touched went wrong. Everything I was doing was just not working anymore. Things that had once worked were now not working. And I sat there and I thought, well, what's changed? Why could everything this time last year I touched turn to gold? Now, how can it be turning so badly wrong? And I thought, well, nothing's changed. I'm using, I'm a production. One of my things was production. I was a production expert. And so I thought, well, I'm copying exactly. So what's going wrong? What's the only thing that's changed? I thought, well, I'm a bit older. And I thought, my mindset's changed. I've altered how I think about things. And I looked at it and thought, I'm sitting here thinking and expecting it to fail. Whereas before, I was sitting there thinking, expecting, and knowing it was going to succeed. Now, everything I do, I'm doubting. And I sat there and I thought, blimey, this is it. This is it. This is why I can't succeed. I've got these bugs in my mind. This mess going around. How can I hope to put anything in there that will actually work with this mess that's in my mind? And so I was looking at all different sorts of books and that sort of thing about how to be successful and all this sort of thing. I thought, well, until you've shut off the rubbish that's going on in your mind, you can't succeed. You just can't do it. It's loading good software onto a computer with a virus. And so, I was obviously my financial world was falling down around my ears. But before it completely happens, I was able to take my mindset back from the brink of despair sort of thing back to the ultra successful mindset. So when my world was collapsing around around my feet sort of thing, I had the front row seat at the end of the world, and I was in the most serene position you could possibly ever imagine. I was just sitting there loving every second of it, because I knew that this was an event, this was something that was happening, but my mindset was fixed. I was going to go out and create huge amounts of success. I just had to let this train wreck happen. And sure enough, I went back as soon as I went bankrupt, lost tens of millions, and I went back to almost straight away went into business again. Almost straight away just went, that's it. I'm going to go straight back into business, make lots of money, do exactly what everybody expected me to do. And then I was fortunate enough to the first person I pitched it to said no. And so I came back and I thought, thank goodness for that. He nearly went for this, and I would have nearly gone into yet another business that I didn't actually love, yet another business I didn't actually want to do for anything other than money and a little bit of kudos of being, clever and being able to do it. And so I came back and said to my wife, she said, did he buy it? And I said, no, something much better is happening. I'm going to sit on the sofa for the next 3 months and figure out what I want to do with my life. This didn't go down too well, as you could quite imagine.
Oh, I've been through that with my wife too. Yes.
But it was exactly what I did. So I sat there and started to figure, and I was writing, because at the time I had this site where I showed people how to make money and how to do business and that sort of thing. And people were saying, "Oh, Andy, can you teaching us how to make money?" And I said, "No, that's so wrong. That feels so wrong. I've just gone bankrupt. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it." I said, I will share some of my thoughts on mindset, because at the same time, everyone was saying to me, "Well, how can you be this calm? How can you be this contented? How can you be at peace like this? How can you not be worried? How can you not be stressed? How can you not be afraid?" And of course, I wasn't. I had a perfect mindset. I was in a perfect success mode. And so I started to write about it. And while I was sitting there contemplating what I was going to do with my life, I was writing these articles on success and mindset and accepting what it is and all this sort of thing, and how to control your mind. And then I started writing them. And then one day I put all my pieces of the puzzle together, and out came the fact that I should be writing a book on it. And so I thought, well, I wanted to write a book in it anyway, and that was how I got into it. And my core was, once I realised that I wanted to write on it properly, not just produce a few articles, I thought, well, I wanted to do something that had never been done in it. And I thought, well, what has never been done? And what had never been done was bridging the gap between, if a successful person, if a successful person with a success mindset reads a success manual, of course they can apply it. But if a person, as you quite rightly said, they're naturally successful. I view myself as one of society's failures, not as one of society's successes, because society produces so many people that can't become successful. They have to be classed as the successes, and I failed society's programming. So of course, I'm in a position where I can just, go and create success. So I just sat there and thought, okay, what's the problem? And I thought the problem is the guys teaching success are only getting a 1% success rate. So how does this change? Because that's always infuriated me. So it was like, right, how can I change that? And I thought, well, that's simple. I then came up with the understanding that we're all naturally successful. We all started off as perfect human beings. and this programming and our life experiences get in the way and gradually rob from children their natural ability. And I was fortunate enough to have an uncle that inspired my natural ability. He didn't switch it off. Whereas I see with a lot of parents, they'll switch off their child's natural ability without any intention to do so. They intend to do only good, but because they say the wrong thing at the wrong time, the child is programmed with, this is going to be too hard for me to do, so therefore there's no point in doing it, therefore I might as well go and hang around with my mates and go and smoke dope. Right? And they get their programs because the parents said, oh, this is going to be too hard for you to do, right? Or something like that. It's just a little bit of programming. And of course, I wasn't programmed with any of that. And so I thought, well, if everyone's been naturally successful, they've all been there once, all I'm going to do is show them how to get back there. And so that's what I did. That's how I got into it. I found my mission, and my mission was to change the world one mind at a time. And I've been doing it now just over 4 years, and I love it, as you can probably tell.
I can absolutely. Yeah, you had the fortunate, really, you came on with a natural mindset. And this is the thing with almost all of the books written by people like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or many of the other big names. They have this natural mindset, and they don't realize that, what is simple and easy to them, they give it, they give you step-by-step instructions on how to become successful.
Yep.
They don't understand that works for them because they have that natural mindset.
Right.
The problem with Think and Grow Rich, I mentioned before. Napoleon Hill interviewed all of these people that were naturals.
Yes.
He didn't interview anybody who was not a natural success to begin with. So that's why that book doesn't work for most people. They say it's made a million millionaires, but they've sold hundreds of millions of copies. That's less than a 1% success rate. And this is the most famous book on success. Your work is the first one to come down and say that I've always called it the drunken monkey. And it, it comes up and pops up once in a while, and I beat it down. But I've certainly had those problems, and I was fortunate. My parents were very supportive, and I didn't know that there was money was never really a discussion in my home. We always had. And I always expected to have, so it was fairly easy for me. But I did that until somewhere in my late 20s. I decided to make a career shift. I decided it was time to make more money. Oh, that was a big mistake. I quickly went from being quite successful, working for the New York Times, working for the Associated Press, making a decent income, to real estate developer, and lost my butt. And I had no idea why. It was because I was working for the money. Because it was understandable. I had a couple small children at the time, and I wanted to create a better life for them. I should have, I learned quickly in about a 2-year period of time that you can go from doing very well to,
Yes.
the depths. I went into severe credit card debt, and, but I managed to pull myself out of that, thank God. But there was nobody to help. There was nobody who told me, you've lost your mind. And that's literally what I had done. I'd lost my mind, and it didn't work for me. There's the nice thing. One of the nice things I like about your work is if people go through it, they can then pick up these other books, because you
Absolutely.
don't really directly tell people this is the way to make money. You give them the mindset, the proper mindset, and then they can go out and they can pick up Napoleon Hill, they can pick up Jack Canfield, any one of these others, and then follow that blueprint that they've set down and understand.
What I teach is there's like a computer operating system. It's how to think. Without the operating system, any software you put onto it won't work. But with an operating system, all software works. And so that's the operating system's how to think. All the guys are doing is teaching what to think. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can only have what to think after you know how to think because the structure's wrong. Because if you haven't got it, in a person who hasn't got structured thought, they'll go in, it'll go into their mind, it'll bounce around, and they won't do anything with it. With a person with structured thought, the thought goes in. Oh yes, you're supposed to go there. We're supposed to go there. That's it dealt with, right? So that's the difference. That's all I'm doing is, I was at a seminar recently on the world tour, and the woman said to me, "Well, are you teaching people to be a better?" I can't remember what she said now. I can't remember how she described it. But the point was, I said, no, 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 look. I said, I'm teaching you to be, if you want to be a better Muslim, I'll teach you to be a better Muslim. If you want to be a better Christian, I'll teach you to be a better Christian. If you want to be a better businessman, I'll teach you to be a better businessman. If you want to be a better drug dealer, I'll teach you to be a better drug dealer. I'll just make you the very, very best at whatever you want to do. That's all I do. All I do is take people and turn them into the successful, natural, successful beings they were born to be. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to you want to learn how to make money, go and learn that from over there. All I'm going to teach you to do is how to think. It's a language for the mind. When you know the language for the mind, it's easy.
Yeah. The biggest disaster that I see is that we take our children and at the age of 5 start sending them to school where they will learn facts and figures, and they spend the next 12 to 16 years in school learning absolutely worthless material. They never learn. I was a college professor for a while, and fortunately, excuse me, I was teaching photography, and and it was for a very specific need. I was teaching forensic photography to policemen and firemen, but for the most part, school does not teach people how to think. It just gives them facts and figures, and they come out of 12 or 16 years with this worthless knowledge that they will never apply in life, and they still, after all this schooling, don't know how to think. You should be starting, your next great project should be starting in on the school system and say, you should be teaching my material.
You'll be pleased to know I'm meeting at the government level with people already.
Oh,
Uh,
marvelous.
it's
This,
actually happening. I can't say too much about it because it's very, very early stages, but we have been asked to supply and supply a proposal to put this into every area of education within one country.
oh, it needs to be in every country in the world.
I've
And
got to give an example first.
yeah,
We're going to
you,
know one country works. But we've already had requests from two other countries as well. But that's the start. The start is one. We're only going to do one. We're going to prove the model, prove it can work, and so that was my intention all along. But bearing in mind, I only went bankrupt 4 years ago to have achieved this level already and be talking at the very highest level of government is something I'm very, very pleased with. Let's put it that way, and I can't wait.
oh, that's exciting news. That's exciting news. You might want to approach the state of California because they are rather progressive, and actually the only state that I know of that has classes for grade school children in meditation.
Oh, wow.
They're teaching mindfulness meditation to 7 and 8 year olds, which is been one of the keys in my life.
Yeah. Cool.
Has saved me from going over the edge many times. Andy, we're getting on to quite a bit of time here, so I'm going to let you go. I want to thank you very much. I know my readers really appreciate hearing your story right from, as they say, the horse's mouth. And
Well,
uh,
if
and
you do answer any questions sometime, ask me back, and I'm quite happy to, because I don't feel I've given you that much at the moment. So,
well, you've given me quite a bit here to start, and I'm sure my readers will appreciate it. And I thank you very much for being with me today.
you're
Uh,
welcome.
to my
Thank you very much.
readers, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I am putting up a special page dedicated to Andy and his work. It'll be permanent on my site, unlike the reviews that I do. Andy will have his own page, along with Alan Tutt and PS Tech and a couple of others. And I feel that Andy's program is that special and that important. His program works on its own, but it also supports all of the other programs that you might consider using. It makes them effective. All right. Everyone, bye for now and have a wonderful day. As I've always say, it's up to you to, it's a beautiful day out there if you make it so. So